Alright, thank you so much, Lavelia, for the very informative and well-done discussion. So let's continue the topic, questioning and problem solving. So first, that was framing questions. Now let's move on to the second part, effective strategies for receiving responses. So this part actually, when we are able to give effective strategies to our students in receiving the responses, we are able to provide an effective and efficient teaching and learning process. So, effective strategies for receiving responses, a key issue tied closely with questioning is how to receive responses from our students. So, note that this can be difficult at times for new teachers. No? We often interpret silence as not knowing the answer to a certain question. So there are times that our students do not respond to our questions. No, we cannot apply silence means yes to this matter. No, if we are able to ask them questions and then they are just giving us silence, then we probably might think that they don't have any idea of our question, especially if we are asking them before the discussion, no, or pre-question before the discussion. So, because some students process information quicker than others, the teacher needs a strategy that allows each student a chance to respond. Yes, that is very important. Now, there are just students who needs more time to think of their own ideas. But somehow there are also students who think quickly than others. So how can these effective strategies for receiving responses benefit in the process of teaching and learning? So these strategies help to avoid situations in which one or two students consistently shout out the answer immediately after a question has been asked. These strategies, when we are able to provide effective strategies in receiving responses from our students, we are able to avoid situations that give them the chance to shout out their own ideas. So since we already have the strategies, it helps to give an effective way that each of our students can give their ideas or their answers to the posed questions. Now we have here 4 given strategies for receiving responses. So number 1, individual call out or collective responding. Next is encourage students to raise their hands. This is actually very common nowadays. Next is giving points for oral responses. And last is implying physical education response clap. Now let's go to the number 1, individual call out or the collective responding. So in a game show Jeopardy, if you're able to know this game show, if you're able to watch this game show, contestants have to phrase their answers in a form of a question. So that is part of their criteria. Failure to do so constitutes an incorrect response. So if they are not giving their answers into a question or naming their answer into a question, then they are having incorrect answer. But luckily, when you play Jeopardy at home, you can yell out the answer without a consequence. So children also like to shout out when they knew the answer. So in a call out, children respond to a question continuously and immediately. That is according to Graham 2001. So that is the benefit of individual call out or collective responding, because here we are able to call some of our students individually and then ask their opinion about a certain question. So that helps them to share their ideas, shout out their ideas to the given question. So they will going to answer immediately and simultaneously. So that is again the individual call out or the collective responding. To add more information, individual call outs are acceptable, but allowing the class to call out one at a time can sometimes problematic. Collective responding often leads students to become more excited and yell out louder to be heard. This takes time away from the discussion because it takes time for the children to calm down. That is also one of the difficult situations when we are able to individually call out our students. So let's go to the second strategy. So encourage students to raise their hands. Of course, this is very common without us knowing that, oh, this is also a strategy for receiving responses. Yes, actually. So when teachers encourage students to call out for answers without raising hands, children often continue to yell out the answer at very increasing volume to get the teacher's attention. So at times when we are not able to instruct our students how to answer, the class will be in a panic. They might be able to shout out their answer in order for the teacher to be heard. Now, a number of advantages, allowing students to raise their hands help the teacher to choose who among the students will share their responses. So this is the benefit of encouraging our students to raise their hands to share their ideas. Teachers can choose who among the students will going to share their ideas. So that is encouraging students to raise their hands. So let's go to giving points for oral responses. So number 3. A classroom teacher who uses strategies for receiving responses with corresponding points for correctly given oral responses can call students' attention to the class and encourage them to share their ideas. Yes, we'll be able to ask our students, so who wants to answer? I will give you additional points. Like that. This is inspirational actually. We are giving our students a chance to share their ideas and in exchange of their points, collective points. So thus producing an effective and productive discussion of the lesson. Yes, we are able to produce a productive and effective discussion and sharing of lesson to our students. So we are asking them to ask their ideas, to share their ideas, and we are also giving them their corresponding points. So lastly is employing the physical education response club. So this is actually includes group activity. So implementing the use of physical education response club encourages students to participate the lesson discussion where they can earn membership over a certain number of points. So clearly, the teacher must establish a system that gives each learner a chance to respond to a given question. So that is employing physical education response club. So the purpose of this one actually is to give chance to students to be able to respond, to be able to share their ideas regarding to the post questions. So lastly, under the questioning and problem solving, we are now in wait time. So wait time, actually, this is very understandable. This is giving time to our students. Very short time. Giving time to our students to think of their ideas before sharing it to the class, before sharing it to the teacher. So we have here, some children need more time to think about the questions and formulate answers before responding. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Certain strategies can give these children a chance to engage in a class question and answer session without feeling awkward or putting them on the spot. Yes. Other just times that when we ask our students without giving them wait time, they are feeling afraid to share their ideas. They feel awkward and they feel like they are asked on the spot, and that makes them even hard to answer, hard to share their ideas because they are put on the spot and they cannot think of their ideas beforehand. So we have here a situational example of giving wait time to students. So one teacher liked to drink a bottle of water while he thought. So there are times like that during a discussion, we feel like thirsty. And that gives our students wait time. So we can drink while discussing, and that gives short time to students to think of their ideas. Now, when the teacher posed a question, his students claimed that he was notorious for saying, "You think while I drink." After asking a question, students were to wait until he had taken a few sips of water before responding. He said he used the time to encourage children to think before responding, and that students will more likely to respond when the pressure of answering quickly was off. Yes, that is a great benefit of giving wait time to students because it takes away the pressure of quickly answering to a question. It gives them short time to think quickly about their ideas with regards to the question. Students must be encouraged to answer questions and participate in a class discussion. Now, when we use wait time when we ask questions to our students, it allows them to think through possible answers and prepare themselves in case the teacher will call them to share their ideas. Though actually wait time is very short, but it gives enough time to students to quickly think of their ideas or thoughts with regards to the question that the teacher has posed. So thus, wait time helps to reflect. So it helps students to reflect with their ideas, formulate, ask, answer, and discuss questions and ideas. So that is why wait time is a great strategy to students when we are able to receive their responses. So we have here another examples for questions that provides waiting times to students. So first, it is actually a statement that the teacher can say. So we have here, name 3 critical cues to remember while dribbling a ball with our hands. Wait, Erica? Like that. So the teacher was being maybe distracted by a student, and then he said, "Wait, Erica?" So there is something like that. There is a pause, but you already have asked the question, and like that, you are actually giving a wait time to your students to answer your question. So again, name 3 critical cues to remember while dribbling a ball with our hands. So that is the question, but you still continue and saying, "Wait, Erica?" So something like that, you are actually giving wait time to your students. So we have here second question. In a moment, I'm going to call someone to share their thoughts about our topic. Okay, so like that, when we say in a moment, meaning not now, later. No, not now but later. So, of course, you then are providing still wait time to your students because in a moment, so that is a short time for the students to think of their ideas. So, lastly, we have here, I'm thinking of the name of a person who want to answer the following question. Where does the ball go when we contact it with our arms held in the front of us in shoulder level? Okay, like that. So the teacher said, I'm thinking of calling someone to answer the following question. So every student will prepare. So you are giving chance to your students to prepare since you said that I will be calling someone to answer the question. Right? So that is also a wait time. So I have here a table. You can see here. So we have know, want, learn. So we have here example of questions and the possible students' responses. So for the no questions, we have here, who can tell me everything they knew about dribbling basketball? So this might be the possible students' responses. You have to bounce the ball or use it in the basketball. or you can't walk with it, or try to keep it below the waist, and many more. So there are a lot of ideas from different students. So next we have want. So the example question here, in a game of basketball, people try to take the ball away from you as you dribble. Therefore, you need to make sure you can control the ball so it will be harder for them to take away from you. So what part of your body do you think you should use to help you better control the ball? So students might have different responses. So we have here hand, fingers, palm, or you want them to learn to say finger pads, flexible wrist. So those are the possible answers of students. And lastly, we have learn. So in the example question, can you tell me one thing you learned today that will help you control the ball better when you dribble? So this might be the possible answer of the students. Use the pads of the fingers and keep the wrist loose. Alright, so those are the questioning and problem solving in delivering discussion or lesson to our students in physical education. So thank you so much. I hope you learned from my discussion. So to end this one, I have here a quote from the famous Clive Shepard. The number one factor in engagement is relevance, because relevance drives out resistance. So thank you so much. Happy online learning and God bless us all.